Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, starring award-winning real estate coaches and #1 international best-selling authors, Tim and Julie Harris. Real Estate Coaching Radio is the nation's #1 daily radio show for realtors who demand authentic, real-time coaching. Get ready for fluff-free, unfiltered, full-strength honesty about what's truly working to get you into action, helping others, and making money now in today's real estate market. Now to our hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
3, 2, 1. All right, Julie, we are back.
Yes.
All right, so I want you to help me work out something in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to talk about something all of you guys absolutely need to take notes on. We started talking about this the other day. It's called BPO cash flow, but we're going to drill down on this big time today. And yeah, we're going to tell you guys how you all can be making money pretty much instantaneously, receiving checks in the mail in the next 30 days. This is the real deal. Get ready to take notes. But Julie, I've got a question, something I need your help working out.
Okay.
I had today 3 people accuse us, mostly through text and whatnot, just people that are, longtime listeners, longtime fans, podcast listeners, coaching clients, the whole thing. Because it's not like we have a small footprint anymore. We have a pretty, #1 daily listen to. Okay, so they accused me, these 3 people, of being overly pessimistic.
Okay.
And so I don't know how to really respond to that. Because
based on what's going on in the world today?
Yeah, telling the truth, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and so Julie and I how could we do what we do and do what we've done if we weren't the biggest optimists you've ever faced on the planet Earth? I mean, we coach agents for a living. We decided to start an agent coaching and training business, forever ago. That is definitely the sign of either a high level of dementia, stupidity, or the fact that we're just optimists.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, guys, and I get where you're coming from, okay? I understand because it is not, there's hardly anything to be laughing about or even to be celebrating. And anytime Julie and I have been reading constantly and talking to people constantly. We're looking constantly for people that are like 20x smarter than us about these things so we can help all of you guys. And none of them are optimistic, not in the sense that you guys think. What they're doing is they're foreshadowing a relatively grim financial future for many Americans. And look, what am I supposed to do with that? Somehow put a frosting and a big bow on it? Let Zoe throw some sprinkles on it and you can have balloons and we can all... No, I'm not going to do that. And I'll tell you what's more is we're not going to spend any time talking about mindset stuff too, because that doesn't make you money either. So yes, maybe comparatively to what we normally talk about and sound like, maybe we do sound more pessimistic, but that's not how we feel. Here's what we feel optimistic about, just so you're clear. We feel optimistic about our ability to actually help you guys. We feel optimistic about what's going to happen for all of you guys after you've essentially gotten your personal house in order. We feel optimistic for the future of America because there's going to be a lot of things that are going to come unraveled as a result of this. We are in a recession, by the way. Let's not debate that. There definitely is a recession going on right now. And it's probably going to be a depression, whatever that is. And I've researched what the definition of a depression is, and there is no definition of a depression, but it's probably whatever we're going to experience next. So words don't really mean anything unless those words actually have are directly affecting you. In this case, they are going to directly affect you. They're going to affect me. They're going to affect your neighbors. They're going to affect everyone. And no one's going to get out of this thing without a few bumps and bruises, and hopefully that's the extent of it. Because there's more people that are losing their jobs. There's going to be a massive loss to true GDP of the United States. There's going to be businesses that are never going to come back around again. There's going to be all this destruction. So everywhere around you, there's going to be wealth destruction. There's going to be people that can't emotionally handle the wealth destruction. But after that, and unfortunately it's not 90 days or 120 days, it might be like a year to a year and a half. I'm just being honest with you guys. Then there's going to be an opportunity for resurrection. There's going to be an opportunity for recreation. There's going to be opportunity for new businesses and new leaders, frankly, to emerge that couldn't have unless this type of thing happened. And Julie, this is an opportunity for you to talk about some nerdy seed that only basically grows when it's under an extreme amount of heat in a forest.
I don't remember the name of the seed, but I remember it's absolutely the case. I think it comes from a certain kind of pine tree that never, ever grows in normal circumstances. It just doesn't even germinate. I believe it doesn't even drop from the tree. It only happens after forest fires when these trees are decimated. Their pine cones open up in the fire, and then they seed themselves. I believe it was specifically in the ashes from that fire. and then they grow into big, beautiful trees. And this happens, you can't even predict how many years because it's in between, it's right after those forest fires. So I think this is going to be largely like that. And I've really been enjoying our very positive discussion on the Facebook page about all of the great new things that are already arising from this.
So if you're saying we're pessimists, we're absolutely not. We're optimists.
Realists.
We're realists, that's right. But for you to basically benefit and for you not to have any more than a few bumps and scrapes as a result of this, really what's going to be an economic collapse, it already is. For you to actually benefit from what comes after that, for you to be that little seed that grows into something after the horrible fire, you need to make it through the fire itself. And what I'm fearful of is if Julie and I aren't honest enough to the point of maybe being scary in some cases, if we're not like that on our podcasts, on our coaching calls, and everything that we basically, every place we syndicate information, you guys aren't going to take it seriously enough, and you're not going to take action on it, and you're not going to be part of the resurrection. You're not going to be part of the new economy. You're not going to be part of what comes after. And that's the reason that we've been spending so much of our bandwidth trying to get you to take action. And if it scared you, good, be scared. Chances are you're scared because you're not prepared. Chances are you're scared because you know you don't have the ability to last for more than 60 to 90 days before you face total financial devastation. And if you're a broker, I was on the phone today with 3 different brokers. The largest one had close to 1,000 agents. And the broker was part of the big national franchise. And they had barely basically 60 days worth of savings. And they have tons of fixed costs, tons of leases, tons of staff members, tons of just all these people that will not be able to have their jobs with this particular brokerage even now. They all need to be fired. And he is asking me what he should do. And I told him the truth. He obviously hadn't been listening to the podcast. I said, what you should have done about it, 2 weeks ago is laid everybody off. 50% of your staff, everybody. I mean, you need to essentially make it so that you can make it through this. Or you just need to figure out a way to basically get rid of the brokerage altogether. And then we talked about eXp Realty. And if you want to talk about that with me, you guys can text me directly, 512-758-0206 if you're wanting to talk about eXp, wanting to take that conversation to the next level. And naturally, those are the types of brokerages, for example, and those are the types of businesses. eXp is the perfect example, which will emerge at the other end of this, essentially much stronger because the business model that they created is so superior to virtually everything else that's been out there. And here's again, I know some of you guys are getting your underwear in a snatch because you're hearing me talk about eXp, but move past that. Because it's not just eXp that's going to basically emerge as a winner out of this. It's so many other businesses that literally couldn't have existed or been born or essentially flourished because the old paradigm was essentially making it so they couldn't compete. The old sort of business structure and the old rules, the old guard was making it so some of these new businesses would never happen. And here's the other thing that's interesting to me. Some of the new businesses that were emerged in the last 10 years that really did not have much of a business plan or really were offering an inferior product that only could exist because of the fact that we are in an upward seller's market. In other words, brokerages were able to provide leads for their agents because the cash flow was so consistent and maybe even increasing because of the upward buoyant seller's market. So you could put mediocre agents in front of just about any type of buyer, and that buyer would end up buying something not because of the agent's skill or lack of skill, but because they wanted to buy a house and there was a lack of inventory, and that lack of inventory created scarcity, and it created, all the things that happened over the last 15 years. Well, that market's gone, and it's not going to come back anytime soon. Why do I know that for sure? Because the unemployment rate, guys, is going to be, it already is at least 20%. It's going to potentially, and this is what's scary, climb to 30 to 40%. There's not going to be an end to the pandemic until they actually create a vaccine, which is best case scenario 18 months from now.
Yeah, headlines. I mean, this is just one from today. Largest U.S. mall owner furloughs 30% of workforce, adding to avalanche of coronavirus-related layoffs. And these are still early days. So, yes. I mean, I don't know. To go back to your original question about coming off negative, I think, if you are not being cautious, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you don't have a plan right now, you're definitely hiding your head in the sand. I mean, you're just in denial of some sort. And I think maybe some people think that we come off negative just because they're scared, and that's how they deal with it.
Well, and they should be scared, honestly.
Yeah, and I mean, nobody's dealt with this. It doesn't even compare to the recession at this point.
You can combine the recession with all the things that all of us have experienced. I'm 50. In the past 50 years, it could be the high interest rates when I was a kid, when Carter was president. It could be all the inflation that came afterwards when Volcker tried to raise interest rates to reel in the inflation. It could be doesn't matter what, combine it all, and that's what we have now, probably times about 3. That's how bad it's going to be. It's inevitable. It's baked in. This is already essentially going to be something that all of us are going to live through. But again, we want you to be the seed that comes back as something amazing and beautiful. In order for you to do that, you have to get through it. And that's the reason that we created the report, the Ultimate Agent Survival Guide. And that's the reason we're giving it away for free. That's the reason that we created a free coaching program. It's not the same thing as our normal coaching program. Be clear about that. It's maybe 10% of our normal coaching program, but it's the 10% that's going to give you the direction that you need right now. And Owen, did I mention it's free? So all of you guys right now, and be very clear, and this is what I told these same brokers too, every single agent needs to be filing for unemployment. Every single agent needs to be getting mortgage forbearances and forbearances on every kind of debt. Car loans, doesn't matter. You can get forbearances on property taxes. Every single agent needs to be looking at the SBA loan programs that are coming out. Every single agent out there, brokerage out there, needs to be doing exactly what we tell you to do immediately. Now, some of the grants, some of the money you can get from the SBA is a grant. Grant money is limited. There's so much, then once it's gone, it's gone. So you need to take action on this. And I'm sure the other programs, as far as mortgage forbearance, all you have to do now is have a phone call or fill out a form, and you can get mortgage forbearance and all you have to do is say that your income's been adversely affected by the coronavirus, which, by the way, applies for every single person on planet Earth. And as far as the other programs, as far as the unemployment, the new act, or what is it called, the bill that got passed, made it so that even self-employed people, even self-employed people that were 1099 self-employed people can get unemployment. So that's a national thing, not a state-by-state thing. But you do have to apply through your state. So what we've done as far as this free coaching program is we have put our own resources, our own staff, into gathering and streamlining and giving you the inside track to get all this information. And to get all of it, we have included every single state's unemployment information. We've included in our constantly updating all the information for all the banks, all the ways you can the SBA loan process. Everything you can possibly need to know to take advantage of all these programs, it's all waiting for you. And all you have to do is text the word survival to 31996. It's free. There's no strings attached. This is our attempt to help you. We want as many of you to get through this with no one's going to get through this clean. I promise you. Everyone's going to have some cuts and some scrapes, maybe some bruises. But all those things you can heal from, right? We want you to get through it so that you can be part of what comes next. That's what really matters. That's what you have to be clear about. You have to take action on this. So please do not wait. And if you're a broker or an office manager, if you're anybody that has any influence on any agents, you got to tell them just to text the word survival to 31996. Text the word survival to 31996, and we'll text you back a direct link and you can join the program. You are also going to get a call from someone from our team. We're actually putting real resources behind this to make sure you log into the website and you know where to go to download the information. That's how much we care about you guys getting through this. We're not going to be able to help everybody, but those of you who are frankly smart enough to be our loyal podcast listeners, we at least owe it to you to help cushion the blow for what is going to feel like, what is a huge historic thing. So are we pessimists about the short run as far as what's going to happen overall? I would say yes. Are we pessimists for what's going to happen long term for the country? Absolutely not. This is and will continue to be the greatest country in the history of humanity, and we're incredibly optimistic about it. So we're going to move on. And again, while you're thinking about it, go and download the Ultimate Agent Survival Guide. It's broken into 3 parts. The first one is called Personal. The second one is called Protect, parts, and the third part is called Profit. We have exhaustively talked about, and we'll continue to talk about, the first section, which is Personal. All that information is what I just told you, plus some, which is waiting for you on the free site. Now we're going to talk about Protect. So we are talking about a little bit of all this kind of ebbing and flowing, going in between each section, just to make sure that we're updating you. Because again, this information is all changing with regards to all these programs. Everything's getting updated in real time on the website. So you have to go there frequently. And again, all you have to do is text the word survival to 31996. Okay. Now, we're going to tell you exactly what all of you should be doing right now to start making money right now. We're going to tell you the exact steps that you need to be taking to actually start making money from BPOs. Right? Now, I know we talked about this before many times on the podcast, and I know from experience that not very many of you have taken it seriously because you didn't want to do the actual work. What I'm asking you to do now, what I'm begging you to do now, is listen to what we're saying and take the exact steps necessary, because here's the reality. This is not scarcity created by Tim and Julie. This is scarcity, what I'm about to tell you, that's created by reality, and reality is now telling me that if you don't take action on this, in 90 days you won't be able to take advantage of what we're about to tell you. So it's going to be 90 days from now. Okay, you're going to then see let's hope the unemployment's still happening. Let's hope the forbearances are still in place. But you're not going to have hardly any deals in contract because of the fact you haven't been able to show houses. You guys following me? You seeing how Julie and I are looking into the future, trying to protect you? Now, what you're going to need to do is start making money immediately, learning how to do BPOs. BPOs, which stands for broker price opinion, that industry, if you want to call it that, is going to go to the moon and back about 1,000 times over the next year. BPOs are ordered. Julie, I mean, there's really an endless reason why BPOs are ordered.
It's almost like a mirror of why anybody asks for a comparative market analysis. It's younger cousin, right? So a BPO is more sophisticated than the CMA, but not as complex as an appraisal. So for the same reasons, divorce decree where they're going to split the equity, that would be one reason. Lenders and hedge funds, for example, anybody who is considering maybe what is the value of a property that they have an ownership stake in, pre-foreclosure, foreclosure, short sale, refinance. That's a hot one right now. Lots of BPOs being ordered for refinance valuations. So the list is endless, as you said, and there's lots of entities that order them. All
the forbearances that are happening in the country right now, there'll be BPOs ordered. If you have first and second mortgages, there'll be BPOs ordered. The banks will be ordering BPOs when your forbearance is into it for 90 days. BPOs are going to be ordered like you cannot possibly imagine. Your PMI insurance, if you have PMI, they're going to be ordering BPOs. So all these separate entities, what a BPO amounts to is they're checking the value of the asset, be it a lender or be it an insurer. It doesn't really matter. Your homeowner's insurance company will probably be ordering BPOs. So these BPOs are what essentially amounts to the lenders, the banks, the insurance companies, the governments. Whatever entity ordered it, they don't have to tell you that they've ordered it. You won't know when BPOs are being done on your own properties. They're going to be done left and right, everywhere, front and center. And ultimately, this is how all those entities can keep an eye on their asset, eye on the property, eye on you. Because what happened last time in 07 through 09, which is going to be nothing compared to this, is that people would get mortgage forbearances and then they would abandon their houses. Or they would get mortgage forbearances and then they would move someplace else and rent out their property. Or and this happened a lot, people would abandon the property. And I remember, it was not uncommon out west in California and Nevada to see people literally stripping their houses of air conditioners, of furnaces,
name it,
interior
all these types cabinets.
Of things. People would basically gut their own houses and sell it on Craigslist.
It's crazy.
All these types of things are going to happen again. It's inevitable. It's human nature. We saw during the last crash, and so did you if you were paying attention, how quick essentially normal humans become, I don't even know what the word would be, non-normal humans.
Not normal.
And it's going to happen even more severe and quicker this time because we now know how essentially, and the banks now know that, hey, guys, just put it in the perspective of this way. Last time, if you were in the real estate business, there were no mortgage forbearances. There was no unemployment insurance for self-employed people. There was no money for small business owners from the SBA. There was none of that. So what they did is they learned from last time when they're essentially trying to prevent the avalanche of other problems that came as a result of them not putting, essentially you and me first. By putting the banks first, last time, hoping the banks would then disseminate the money and put the money into the hands of normal people, that idea sucked. So because what the banks ended up doing and what ended up happening to most of that money, and the reason that we didn't really see inflation as a result of the last rounds of stimulus or economic, or whatever you want to call it, QE, and I'm not going to get nerdy on you guys, I promise, was because most of that money went into the stock market and went into other assets like real estate. So if you're wondering why real estate prices went up so much, it's because the ability to borrow money became easier. Same reason that college prices went up. So all those things created artificial bubbles, and all those bubbles are going to get popped. And I'm afraid they're all going to pop pretty damn quick. I mean, here, just put this in perspective. If you have student loan debt, or if anyone you know has student loan debt, you should be looking into these programs that they're now supposedly rolling out, where everyone, just because you have student loan debt, is going to be forgiven $20,000 or $30,000 of it, which for the most part is going to wipe out most student loan debt. That is something that we're following very closely, and we suspect it'll happen. So here should be a little epiphany to all of you, and then we'll get back to BPOs. We have all officially in America become hoarders and become socialists.
You know those hoarder houses you guys have been listing? Those are going to be hot all of a sudden. Yeah. Buy the house and all of their stuff.
And so what are we doing? We're all hoarding stuff. Toilet paper and whatnot, and we're all socialists waiting for our check from the government. See how happened that?
I know, just like that.
In 3 weeks.
I know. And by the way, which would have been a giant headline by itself, all of your competition from iBuyers, just like that, poof, gone. All the changes, it's radical. So I hope you guys are keeping up.
So one of the things, the easiest ways for you guys to make money, the quickest, and you can do this from your house, is doing a BPO. We told you the banks are going to be ordering them left, right, and center. They're going to be ordering them en masse. Now, your average BPO only is going to pay probably $50. Here's the reason you need to take urgent action on this. So there's essentially BPO companies. Let's just call them that. Sometimes they're called BPO mills. It doesn't really matter what the entity is. So there's going to be an entity that orders a BPO. And what happens is, and once they have agents, usually it'll be maybe 10 agents in every market that they trust. What they then do is they'll send out the BPO request. They send them out to agents, and usually it's the agent who grabs the BPO the quickest. They're round robin them sometimes. But there's another little widget that you need to be knowledgeable about, where you can become the preferred vendor, and we're going to teach you how to do that. That's where you'll get a request for like 10 or 20 BPOs that all come in, and these are basically elaborate, very professional CMAs. That's how what it amounts to. So what we want all of you to realize is, once the banks have secured those relationships in every market, in your market, with agents that they trust, at that point, it's very hard to get your foot in the door. You'll go on a long waiting list. They will not give you the time of day unless the other people fail. So what you need to realize is this is urgent. You absolutely need to take action on this now, and you need to be getting in the front of the line to start getting these BPO relationships. Listen, I know you did not go and get into the real estate business because it was so much fun for you to sit around in front of your computer doing BPOs, but in the next 30, maybe 90 days, won't you be glad to have cash coming in? Now, most agents get the checks directly to them in the mailbox. Most agents don't run it through their brokerage because their brokerage doesn't care. So they don't. I mean, it's $50, right? I mean, why they don't want to bother with taking their 20% of the $50. So they'll just, for the most part, just allow you to take the money directly, and at the end of the year, the bank will, or the BPO mill will send you the proper tax things so that you can pay taxes on that money. Now, think in terms of this. How much money do you need every month to pay your bills? Most of you, once you get everything in deferment, are going to need maybe $3,000, maybe $5,000. Once you put all your, forbearance. So once you get all your mortgages in forbearance, and we're going to tell you how to do that as part of that free coaching program, just text the word survival to 31996. After that, you're still going to have to buy food. You're still going to have to buy gas. You're still going to have to buy whatever it is you're going to buy, right? I mean, that Netflix bill, all the movies you're downloading, those aren't free. So you need the cash flow. Time is of the essence here, because once these relationships are taken, the banks don't need you. So don't wait. We have set up a quick and easy way for you to learn how to do BPOs, because obviously we can't do it all on this podcast. Just text the word BPO to 31996. It's just 3 letters. B as in Brian, P as in Paul, O as in oxygen. Just text BPO to 31996. And it's going to link back to the information about the coaching program with regards to BPOs. So do not waste time on that. Now, this is not free information. You're going to be getting a call back from one of our new member coaches. They're going to help you get started. So text the word BPO to 31996. Text the word BPO to 31996. So, Julie, who aren't you telling to do BPOs? I'm telling everyone.
Nobody. I mean, I think, there's some other really nice, byproducts from this, which is, this is an all-inclusive program because, as you said, this is not something we can do on a 30-minute podcast or even a 60-minute podcast. So let's go to BPO math for a second, and then I'll talk about some of the unintended really great things that result from this, in addition to paychecks coming to your mailbox virtually every day once you ramp this up. So again, broker price opinion. This is ordered, by entities from you, the agent. Somebody asked me whether it's the agent's job to, quote, sell the pictures. No. This is you fulfilling an order. They're coming to you once you get this systematized. So BPO math. Now, why would I want to screw around doing a $50 BPO? Well, my first answer is you guys do free CMAs all day long and, don't even complain about it. This is not even that much harder. So why would you want to do it? Well, stop thinking about it as $50 a pop. Here's how the BPO math really works to create a very sustainable spoke. Here's how it goes. Let's say you get paid on average $50 each. And I've had a lot of students, Tim, reporting that they're charging $65 and $75 on rush orders lately because of the refinance boom. But let's just be conservative with the $50 a piece. So let's say that after you've done a handful of these and you figure out that you can systematize this, you've got your process down, which we teach you, by the way, then you do 5 per day. That equals $250 per day because 50 times 5 equals $250. Then you're going to do $250 a day times 5 days in a week. That's going to bring you $1,250 per week. And you're going to work 4 weeks per month. Of course, that'll equal $5,000 per month. $5,000 per month times 12 months in the year is $60,000 per year. So think of what you can do with that. That's absolutely an additional spoke. The nice thing about this spoke is that it doesn't really have much investment. You're not shelling out a lot of money to get involved here. This is not like, pay whatever online entity to buy your leads and they're going to send you, quote, impressions so you can pray to the real estate gods that maybe a deal will work out. This is actual work that is actually ordered. You only have the expenditure of the gas in your car and having a decent camera and a computer to upload it to, which, by the way, you've already invested in when you got into real estate. Okay, so you can save the money. Let's say you ramp it up, and this is really part-time. This is just the beginning, this $60,000 a year if you're doing 5 a day. You can save the money. You can pay your transaction coordinator with it or an assistant. You could upgrade some of your marketing and technology. You can certainly pay for coaching, or you could just, sock it away for a rainy day and call that your extra money. This could be your backup plan. Now, what most of our clients do with this is they cover their basic overhead. That way, their real estate transactions are truly profitable. If you knew that you had your basic expenses covered with your BPO cash flow, how much better would you sleep at night? I mean, knowing that your real estate deals were basically purely profit, what we teach you. So in the BPO program, Tim, we teach them all kinds of cool stuff to make their lives easier. Like we have an adjustment guide for figuring out, when you're doing your comparables, maybe, your comps come out so that you've got the only best comp for your 2-bedroom is a 3-bedroom. Well, how much value do you give that 3-bedroom? There's guides for that. You don't have to guess your way through that. There's manuals, there's exterior evaluation guidelines, interior evaluation guidelines. And so I was talking about unintended benefits. One of these is that your CMAs for your real estate clients miraculously become extremely accurate and efficient. It's pretty amazing. So back to you. I mean, I could go on, but there's lots of, your pricing improves greatly.
By the way, I think you're getting a text from our...
I'm tossing it back to you for a second.
Yeah, you're getting a text from our security, I think. Yeah. So you got to check that. Okay, so there it is. So you guys want to know how to make money now? There, we just told you. That's how you make money now. And every day on the podcast going forward, we're going to be telling you other things you need to be doing now. I know some of you are going to struggle with what we're telling you to do. I know some of you are going to try to procrastinate. You're going to try to wait. You're going to try to say, I was on a great phone call with one of my favorite coaching clients of all time, Chuck Williamson. And for Chuck, for the last 3 weeks on my call, he's been kept on telling me, and his wonderful Southern accent. He's kept on telling me, it's not happening in Wilson, North Carolina yet, Tim. I don't know what you and Julie are talking about on the podcast. We're not experiencing it in Wilson yet. And then today on my coaching call, he said they put a curfew in place. That's what's happening across the country, is everyone's going to experience this. So before it's too late, guys, please absolutely do everything we asked you to do as far as the Ultimate Agent Survival Guide. And now it's time for you to start moving to how are you going to replace your income. Please don't wait. Please don't assume that what you did in the past market is going to work. I know a lot of you guys are just essentially waiting this out. You're hoping and you're praying that somehow miraculously things are just going to pop back. It's literally impossible that things are going to pop back. It will not happen. And I could explain to you until the cows come home why that's true, but you just need to accept the fact that when you have this many people without jobs, you have this many people failing, this many businesses failing, when you have this many brokerages failing, when you have this much destruction that's happening in the economy, there is no V-shaped recovery. This is going to last years. This is not going to be something that we're just going to say, okay, well, that was a horrible first half of the year, and then thank God the second half of the year is full recovery. It's just impossible that it's going to work out like that. So protect yourself, protect your family, share the information about this podcast with every single agent you know. And again, I love the praise that you guys are sending to us, because I had several of you say that you heard Julie and I's voices don't sound like we're necessarily as spunky as we normally are, and our voices are sounding a little strained, especially at the end of the week. And that's true because guess what? We've been on the phone constantly. We've been working harder, talking with more agents and brokerages, people that frankly work for us. Everybody needs a mindset or at least a mental checkup from the head up. And that's something that we're here to do for all of you. But none of it's going to matter if you're worried about how to feed your family. None of it's going to matter if 90 days from now you don't know how to basically even pay your bills. So you have to take this seriously. I personally am a little bit taken aback by, that's a nice way of saying it, asking you guys to all go on unemployment. I am personally taken aback by telling you guys to go into mortgage forbearance and not make your obligations, your house payments. It does not jive with my own software, nor Julie's, or many of you feel the same way. You think that somehow this is you failing, or you think somehow this is you waving the white flag, but it's not. And I'm going to say this, tell this little way of mentally how you should be viewing all this, and hopefully it resonates with all of you. If you were to take a plane flight and the airline loses your luggage, the airline is legally responsible for replacing the luggage and the contents of your luggage. This is a fact. If you were to, that's the bargain. It says it on the plane ticket. So it was not your fault the luggage was lost, and it is their fault the luggage was lost, and it's their obligation to replace the luggage that was lost, right? Makes sense. Now, the same thing is true with the government. You did not put yourself in a position to lose your business, lose your savings, lose your livelihood. You did not do that. You did not fail. You, Mr. Broker, Mr. Agent, did not do this to yourself. This is a situation that 100% was out of your control. Right? The government shut us down. The government shut the economy down. The government, and I'm not saying if they did was right or wrong. Not going to have that conversation with any of you. We're not going to get political. We're not going to be drawn into those ridiculous conversations because it doesn't matter. The decision was already made, and we already have to basically think about what comes next. And please, guys, stay away from politics. It's just ridiculous. This is uncharted territory for everybody. Nobody knows we don't know what's going to happen next. Nobody knows what's going to happen next. This has never happened before. Stop thinking that there's some big brain someplace that absolutely positively knows what the next move is. They don't. The government is probably going to make a lot of mistakes and screw a lot of things up. Everybody is. It's just the nature of living through something like this. But what you have to do is you have to take care of yourself. Do not wait around for the market to come back. Do not wait around for things to be like they were. Do not wait around for a government check, though it does appear that a lot of you will be getting them in the form of wire transfers. Do not be complacent. Take action on everything we're saying and do it urgently. Do it urgently. Take this information and apply it urgently. So text the word BPO to 31996 and get started making money doing BPOs now. You're not doing hardly anything else from home other than making TikTok videos, some of which are very funny, I have to admit. And Julie we're having fun too, making some videos too. I don't know if you guys saw.
Don't give away the secret.
I'm not going to give away the secret. Yeah. So we're making videos too, and having fun. But our primary objective every single day is being of service to you guys and actually drilling down and staying focused and working. Working to be of service to other people is the best way to keep yourself out of fear mode. So please remember everything we're talking about, guys. We're going to continue to do sometimes 1, sometimes 3 podcasts a day. And yes, that means we're probably going to be burning it at both ends of the candle with regards to our voices and maybe in some days our mental health. Yeah. But this is what we're designed to do. Julie and I and our company, we're designed for this market. So that's it. Julie, anything else you'd like to say, guys?
I'm not sure. I had to take care of something. I'm not sure that you covered also that some of the BPOs are exterior only and just a drive-by photo. I mean, it can't get much easier to create a paycheck than that. And I have heard from our BPO agents, because we have quite a few of our coaching clients that have created this BPO spoke. Some of them created it in the last recession and kept that spoke going because they liked the cash flow of it so much. But, they really like having their basic overhead taken care of. And one of the things that they love is that they're getting to really know lots of different neighborhoods this way. Now, you're not going to get orders that send you off to Botswana. You're going to tell them, what is your radius that you'll cover. But I have found, Tim, and I think you'd agree with this, a lot of agents only sell what they sell because they're only familiar with like 2 zip codes or something like that. Or maybe they're only comfortable up to a certain price range. The BPO cash flow really expands your world as well, and it makes you so much more comfortable getting around even in your own town. Even if you grew up there, you're going to learn stuff that you had no idea about. So back to you. I'm not sure if you covered that or not. So
I didn't, and thank you. Very good. So your way of thanking us, yes, we appreciate the nice emails. The way of thanking us is definitely those of you who are purchasing our book on Amazon. Please give us a 5-star review. The book is called Harris Rules. For those of you who are on iTunes, please give us a 5-star review. On Stitcher, give us a 5-star review. Basically, every time you give us a review, it tells those, Google, and it tells Apple with iTunes and Amazon with our book that people like it, and they're going to help us basically get the word out to more people, and it'll help us to do our job at a higher level, which I certainly appreciate. That's the way you guys can thank us, that and taking our information and sharing it. If you don't have to know what we know. You don't have to know how to deliver what we know and say what we say. All you've got to do is tell everyone that you know to text the word survival to 31996, and then we'll give them all the information that they need. For those of you who want to move past survival and you want to move towards making money in this essentially transitional period in our industry, let alone the economy, do the smart thing and do it urgently. Text the word BPO to 31996, and someone will call you back almost right away. And they'll answer any questions, and maybe the program's perfect for you. So text the word BPO to 31996. In the meantime, guys, you have a fantastic day, and we'll talk with you on the show anytime.
This program has been a presentation by Tim and Julie Harris, Real Estate Coaching. For more information on our real estate coaching and training programs, visit our website at timandjulieharris.com. Remember to tune in weekdays at noon for upcoming shows. And until next time, thank you for listening to Real Estate Coaching Radio with Tim and Julie Harris.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.